Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of the Hockey North podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Kroom, and today I'm joined by my good friend, Brendan Paulu. Brendan, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you today, Tyler?
I'm doing very good. It's been a busy weekend, so I'm definitely feeling the blues here as it's getting to be pretty late. But it's been a good weekend. Cariboo Hockey had a big weekend. It keeps us all very busy. Brendan, outside of calling the game for U15 AAA today, as we record on Sunday, how's your weekend been?
Good. I had Cougars Thunderbirds on Friday. That was a close shave for the Cougars, losing 5-4, and then Spruce Kings eking out a 2-1 victory at home against Wenatchee. So lots of hockey to be had here with both junior teams in attendance at home, as well as obviously the Caribou programs also at home this weekend, that being the U15s against Fraser Valley, and of course the Northern Capitals hosting the Vancouver Island Seals in a trio of home games over the weekend as well.
Perfect. And you had some interviews lined up for us, and this episode is going to be shaping up to be a Vanderhoof special. How about you let us know a bit more about who we have on today?
Yeah, it's two really good interviews of two Vanderhoof products, as you mentioned. Linden Makow having a dream season so far with the Prince George Spruce Kings on an over point per game pace with his hometown Junior A club. And Ella Boon, another Vanderhoof product, Northern Capital graduate, helped manning the blue line as a freshman with the Trinity Western Spartans of the Canada West Conference. I caught up with both of them and a chance to showcase the Vanderhoof minor hockey graduates, that being both Boon, and Makow, as they're enjoying some great deal of success at both the junior and collegiate levels.
That's awesome, and there's going to be some good interviews. Before we get to that, we're going to start with our update with Northern athletes that are currently playing in the Western Hockey League, and then once we get done that, I'll hand it off to you to Brendan about following up with our Junior A and Junior B athletes. That said, so the Western Hockey League had some exciting action here over the weekend. Fisher O'Brien and Caden Brown, along with their team, the Prince George Cougars, hosted another Prince George BC product, Nico Majanovic and the Seattle Thunderbirds, as they came to town. The city of Prince George was brought to some really good hockey, some good head-to-head action between these two clubs over the weekend. Cougars lose the first night only by one goal. The second night, the Cougars hand Seattle their first loss of the year. Fisher O'Brien scored in the first game. Caden Brown, unfortunately, was held off the score sheet, but as usual, he's playing a lot of those little roles that end up causing a lot of havoc for the opponent. So, definitely some good hockey there for the Cougars. And on Friday, Tanner Mollendijk, the McBride BC product, and the Blades faced Medicine Hat. Tanner had one assist, helping his team get the 2-1 victory in that game. And then on Saturday, Hayden Smith and Miguel Marcus, two Northern BC products, faced off against Tanner Mollendijk and the Saskatoon Blades. In that one, Lethbridge does get the 2-1 victory. And that pretty much wraps it up for Northern athletes here in the Western Hockey League. Brendan, take it away with the Junior A.
While we take a look at Junior A, we'll first start off in the AJHL. Decker Moinchin finally got his first point with the Grand Prairie Storm in his ninth game. It was an assist in the game on October the 28th against the Spruce Grove Saints. His old team. It was a 4-2 victory at home for the Grand Prairie Storm, as Aiden Peters, Dane Tews, along with a couple other teammates there, Alex Atwell and Ty Taves, scoring for the Storm in that one. Moinchin assisting on the Dane Tews goal to get the party started offensively for the Grand Prairie Storm. So he's on the board with his new team, that being Grand Prairie Storm. Fort St. James product, taking a look at the BCHL, Diego Johnson did not play over the weekend for the Merritt Centennial, so he's still stuck on 7 points in 11 games. No shortage of Northern products playing for the Prince George Spruce Kings. Of course, we mentioned Linden Makow, two clutch goals for him in both games over the Wenatchee Wild, a 4-3 victory on Friday, followed up by a 2-1 win on Saturday. Scott Cousins, former Kelowna Rocket, playing his first action with the Spruce Kings last night in that same victory. Ditto for John Harrington, who's continuing on a successful season at home with the Spruce Kings. And Jordan Fairley, 2 more wins, 2 more games played, as Fairley continues to climb up the BCHL's elite when it comes to goaltenders. Just taking a look at his numbers, 9-1-0 in the season and 11 games played, 1.90 goals against average, 927 save percentage for Jordan Fairley. To the Manitoba Junior Hockey League we go. Amar Power still stuck on 2 points in 11 games played. Alex Achitwa for the Nipawin Hawks. He's got 9 points and 17 games played to date. Achitwa had 1 assist in a game against the Weyburn Red Wings over the weekend. They had a double dip against the Red Wings at home in Nipawin at the Caged Arena at the Centennial Arena in Nipawin. A 4-3 shootout victory for the Hawks in that one, where Ochitwa assisted. As we take a look at the shootout stats, Ochitwa also had one of the 2 Nipawin goals in the shootout as well to help preserve the victory against Jackson Hassman's Weyburn Red Wings. We take a look at Hassman. He actually collected 32 penalty minutes in that game. Hassman, a blow hit to the head, a pair of 10-minute misconducts and a game misconduct. So a short night for him in that contest for the former Cariboo Cougar as well. Taking a look at the Kootenay International Junior Hockey League, 100 Mile House Wranglers of the KIJHL, led by Jack Mulder with 10 points in 13 games. One of 10 Northern products on this Wranglers team, which also includes the goaltender Tyson Smith, former Cariboo Cougar. He's played 5 games in net since being sent down by the Spruce Grove Saints. Tyson Smith, a 2-3 record with a 4.14 goals against average and an .894 save percentage for 100 Mile House. Taking a look at the Kamloops Storm, Quinnell product, Jakes Phillips Watts. He's got 7 points in 13 games to date down in Kamloops. Had a pretty solid weekend, a goal and an assist in a game against the Sicamous on the road, as well as another goal at home against the Osoyoos Coyotes. So that's where he sits right now. Dawson Davis of Fort St. James, 5 points in 10 games for him. He, of course, teammates with Jasper Tate on the Nelson Leafs, and Dawson Davis goals in back-to-back games this weekend against Castlegar. So some offensive success for him. Jasper Tate, on the other hand, moving to 5-0 on the young season, 2.70 goals against average, 923 save percentage. He stopped 36 of 37 Castlegar shots in the win on Friday. So Tate 5-0 in the season, and as he splits the crease with the Nelson Leafs. Osoyoos Coyotes, Jack Henderson, also of Quinnell, 17 points in 9 games for him as his hot streak continues. Pair of helpers over the weekend as Osoyoos took on the Kimberley Dynamiters and the Kamloops Storm. He, one of many former Cariboo products on this Osoyoos club, as is Carter Yarish. He's got 17 points in 10 games, 2 goals, 15 assists. As we take a look at the individual stat line for Yarish, he was actually held off the score sheet this weekend for Osoyoos. And then, of course, you have Kenny Giroux, Ethan Flores, and Zach Leslie of Prince George and Vanderhoof, respectively, on that roster as well. Jake McCulley, the Princeton Posse, the Kitimat product, 4 points in 9 games for the Posse captain. He's been held off the score sheet, at least offensively, in the team's last 3 games. Chase Pacheco of the Port Alberni Bombers, the Kitimat product, 15 points, 16 games, 10 of those are goals, and he was shut out and held pointless in the game last night that they were playing against the Carey Park Islanders of the Vancouver Island Junior Hockey League. His teammate Kenyon McIsaac of Prince George manning the blue line for them. He's got 9 points, 15 games, 42 penalty minutes. He was also held off the score sheet at Carey Park. So that does it for him in terms of the offensive output for the weekend. Taking a look at the Canadian Sports School League stats, Maria Eyre, former Northern Capital, 9 points, 10 games for the Northern Alberta Extreme U18 female prep team. She had a goal and an assist on Saturday, as well as a goal on Friday in a couple of contests. They had 3 games in as many days at home against other prep schools from across Western Canada. Casey Dittner, another former Northern Capital, she's got 6 points in 10 games for NAX. She was held off the score sheet all 3 games this weekend. Another former Northern Capital to speak of, Haley Armstrong, 4 points in 7 games for the Rink Hockey Academy's Kelowna female U18 prep team. She did not get a point in her game on Friday. And then we have Brett Peebles, former Cariboo Cougar, 8 points, 7 games for the BWC Academy U17 prep. Peebles, a goal and 2 helpers on Saturday night, as well as a goal on Friday. Chase Harrington, who we may have on the podcast here very soon, of the Delta Hockey Academy U18 prep. He's got 13 points in 6 games, so a very productive weekend for Chase as he collected a pair of assists. Chase, of course, a first-round prospects pick of the Spokane Chiefs. Callus Pierce of Prince Rupert, 10 points in 10 games. He had a 4-point night today again in one of his contests to cap off a very successful weekend. And, of course, Cameron Schmidt, just the 1 game played so far this year, the Prince George product, also at Rink Hockey Academy in Kelowna, and is a first-round pick of the Vancouver Giants.
Perfect. Thank you for the Junior A and Junior B and much more summaries of how our Northern athletes are doing. And with that, we're going to head into Brendan Paulu's interview with Linden Makow.
All right, and with Prince George Spruce Kings and Vanderhoof product, Linden Makow. Linden off to a flying start this season. 4 goals, handful of points, first 7 or 8 games of the year. What's going right for you?
Confidence, it's a big thing. I'm being tested personally. Like, I've been put out in positions where it's like a test, and I've been, like striving for the challenge, and it's been really good. The guys I've been playing with have been good, and confidence, it's through the roof right now. It really helps.
You're playing second unit power play around the PK as well. What did you do over the summer to try and put yourself in the best position to gain those additional opportunities?
Honestly, probably 80% of the stuff that I did over the summer was power skating oriented. Last year, that was a big thing that I wasn't super good with my skating, and I really took that to the next level over the summer. Did tons of power skating, lots of little skill stuff like in tight, and yeah, it's definitely helped out a lot for the season.
Mm-hmm. So maybe talk about the team in general. You're off to a 5-1 start. Do you see any similarities or differences with last year's team at all, or do you feel like this year's addition is still trying to forge their identity a little bit?
Yeah, personally, I think every team's different, and this year's no different. We have different players, different skill set, and yeah, I think the key for us is just playing hard and playing to our identity.
It's your 3rd season now with Prince George. You joined him on the pod season. You were in, obviously, with the Spruce Kings all of last year. Did you kind of feel that there was a sense that the opportunity was there for you to kind of play that top 6, top 9 role?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, I've been here for 3 years. I know all of our systems inside out. I know what's expected of me, and yeah, I definitely felt like I needed to step up my game a bit this year for sure.
Now you're from Vanderhoof. Just maybe talk about growing up, an hour away from Prince George, playing your minor hockey in Vanderhoof, and just maybe talk about, your first moments of playing the game.
Yeah, like I grew up in Vanderhoof, super small town. It was tier 4 throughout all the way till my second year Pee Wee there. I still remember playing in the old arena in Vanderhoof in provincials. Like, it was pretty special. It was special. The whole town would come and watch the teams play. And yeah, Vanderhoof really functions around hockey there. It's a pretty special place in my heart.
Do you have any coaches or players from that area or any local idols that really, really pushed you during your early playing days?
Yeah, there's 2 coaches for sure. My dad coached me lots throughout hockey in Vanderhoof, and Marty Flores, he coached for years in Vanderhoof, and he really was hard on me when I was younger, but it paid off. Obviously, it pushed me to be better.
Yeah. Any certain moments or teams growing up in Vanderhoof that kind of bring back some early childhood memories in terms of playing the game?
I'd probably say the biggest memory for me personally in Vanderhoof playing hockey is I remember we played Prince Rupert in zones to go to provincials, and it was a 1-1 game. We're tied, but we had to win the game, and if we tied, we wouldn't go. Just how the tournament format went. Anyway, we ended up losing, but the next week at practice, we got like granted some sort of like a team backed out or something, and we were the next team up, and we got to go to provincials. That's probably one of the coolest memories of my minor hockey.
Mm-hmm.
First time.
Now you played Cariboo Cougars. You played on that U16 team that was super stacked. It was coached by Ryan House. What do you remember most about that team? And so maybe talk about the disappointment of not being able to fully kind of see the process through of winning the championship that year.
Yeah, like that year was a special year for me. Like that was awesome. All the guys, everybody had like bought into the process. We had a great team. Like I think there's 4 or 5 guys from that team playing junior this year. And yeah, like it was disappointing when COVID happened because we had like a very, very good shot at going to the finals. I remember we were just about to go, or no, Thompson was just about to come here and play us in the semis. It was, yeah, that team was something special for sure.
Who are some of the NHL players that you may look up to or emulate either growing up or currently?
Probably Ovechkin, honestly. He's one of my favorite players, the way he plays. He's not afraid to fight, like drop the mitts. He's a tough guy, like he'll hit guys, lay them out, and he's also a gifted goal scorer.
Mm-hmm. So maybe talk about what it means to kind of play in an old character barn like the Copar Memorial Arena. I mean, there's not too many ranks of that stature left in junior hockey. A lot of them are newer, a little bit more fancier, a little bit more high tech in some instances. Just maybe talk about playing in a rink like that at home almost 30 times a year.
Yeah, it's super special. All the history in the rink, like I don't know, it's a special place. It reminds me of Vanderhoof a lot, honestly. Just like the style of the rink it is. So old, so many memories that have been made in the rink. It's pretty cool, especially in playoffs when that barn's packed. Everybody's right there, like right there. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any like pregame routines or superstitions before playing at home or on the road?
I try not to, but sometimes like if something starts working, I try to stick to it as best as I can. But I try not to be superstitious. But probably the only thing that I have superstition with is like just my toast before I go up for warm up. Toast and jam has to happen.
Mm-hmm. Is there a favorite arena you like playing in on the road at all?
Oh, I don't know. I might have to go with Penticton. Nice soft glass. If you get ran over, the fans are all like it's crazy in there with the fans too. But it's probably the hardest barn to get a win in away.
Mm-hmm. When did you feel that you had a chance to kind of get to that junior level in terms of, either playing with the Spruce Kings or potentially carving out your path someone else? Just maybe talk about when you felt that you were kind of right at that cusp to take that next step to pretty much where you are now.
Probably my first year major midget. I started talking to the Spruce Kings, and I came out for them like a couple practices, and like I don't know, like it was a big jump for me. Like I was definitely out of place there with the practices, but after coming out a couple times, I started to feel more and more comfortable. I was like, okay, this is something I could actually do.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you are the first star of the week in terms of the BCHL's Napa Auto Parts series. It was announced yesterday, I guess. Obviously, the team comes first and then the individual accolades. But what does that mean to you that you're kind of getting the league recognition, especially this early in the season?
Yeah, it's very special to me. Like it's a big milestone for me. It's pretty cool. I've never had anything like that before, but it's a team game, and that's most important, that our team has a success. And after team success and individual success will come.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any specific goals in mind for yourself or for the team heading into the season?
Yeah, definitely. We want to finish on top. Be nice to finish top of our conference. That's probably the first goal. Like, that's one of the bigger goals.
Mm-hmm. All right, Linden. Well, thank you very much for doing this with me this afternoon, and maybe we'll do this again sometime later on in the season.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Linden.
All right, see ya.
All right, and that was our interview with Linden Makow. Brendan, what were your thoughts there on the interview you had with him?
Well, obviously his answers, might be short and sweet, and I think sometimes you kind of expect that from maybe a very humble, smaller community kid like Linden. But very happy to see the level of success that he's having. It's well deserved. He's earned it. Coming up through the Cariboo Cougar ranks on that powerhouse team, like we mentioned, with Scott Cousins, Miguel Marquez, just to name a few. And, he's being put in all situations by Spruce Kings head coach Alex Even. Power play, penalty kill, getting those top 6 minutes. And, he's not just scoring goals, but he's scoring clutch goals. I mean, he had the game winner both nights against the Wenatchee Wild, both Friday and Saturday. And he's just feeling it right now. And it's very, very well deserved for a kid like that. And you expect him to take those steps in year number 3 in the BCHL. And that's exactly what he's doing right now, and I hope that continues for him as we dig deeper into the campaign.
Absolutely, and I know the game where I filled in on color for your broadcast as Merritt Centennials were in town. It was a weekend where Linden was quite impressive, and we know we talked about him a lot. But one thing I really noticed is he's doing a lot of things like you'd mentioned. He's not just getting goals and clutch goals, but he was forcing the play. Like, he was causing turnovers. He got a couple shorthanded opportunities as well while playing on the penalty kill, and you really saw a player that was driving play forward, and that is a very elite skill that not a lot of players are able to possess and be consistent with. And so far, Linden's been incredibly consistent with his effort in that department.
Yeah, Linden, very, very skilled, like I said, on an at point per game pace or just slightly over that. And you hope for this kid that continues, as well as the Spruce King success on the ice. Obviously, the individual success is nice, but I'm sure Linden, as well as the rest of them, will say team success first and foremost in that ultra tough interior conference, which has the undefeated Penticton Vs, who the Spruce Kings play next on the road on Friday.
Absolutely. With that said, we're going to head on to our second interview here. Brendan, what's some initial thoughts before we head into your interview with Northern Capital's alumni, Ella Boon?
Well, Ella, one of 3 Northern Capital graduates, now on the Trinity Western Spartans, the other ones being Brooklyn Hutchings as well as Carson Niven. They're both redshirting right now, but Ella Boon has carved out a pretty nice role for herself on that Spartans blue line, playing lots as a freshman on that blue line for Trinity Western. And not only that, but she's contributing offensively as well. She had an assist recently, and a couple weeks ago on the road, she got her very first Canada West career goal. And Ella, very, very pleased to be playing as much as she is and being leaned upon as she is as a freshman. And as she will allude to in the interview on a couple different occasions, maybe not quite expecting the success to come as early as she maybe anticipated, but very, very deserving of this product, of the success rather, as Ella Boon, a standout for the Northern Capitals, and it's nice to see that success translate to the next level. Well, when we talk about Northern hockey players, Prince George is obviously the first city that comes to mind, but the town of Vanderhoof developing some pretty good hockey talents. And on this podcast, we have 2 of them. Of course, we're talking to Linden Makow, the Prince George Spruce Kings, and now we get to speak with Trinity Western Spartans freshman defenseman, as well as Northern Capitals alumni Ella Boon. Ella, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. It's always nice to be recognized.
So, Ella, it's your first year in the Canada West Conference with the Trinity Western Spartans after a long tenure with the Northern Capitals. What's life like right now at Trinity Western, both on and off the ice?
It's been good. Definitely an adjustment from high school, but yeah, everything's going good. I'm really enjoying the hockey. We've been doing pretty good so far. We're 4-4. Yeah, it's just been a really good environment so far. I'm really enjoying it.
Now you're one of 3 Northern Capitals on this Trinity Western Spartans team. Of course, your teammates Brooklyn Hutchings and Carson Niven also on the roster. They haven't seen action yet, but you've been a regular member of the Blue Line for Trinity Western. Just maybe talk about getting the chance to play early and often as a freshman.
Yeah, it's definitely not what I expected, but a great opportunity for me. It's definitely been nice. I've definitely gotten used to the speed of the game a lot faster than I think I would have. Yeah, once again, not what I expected, but I'm very grateful for the chance to play every game.
And what does that mean to you to kind of just jump right in there, be an integral part of this team, which is obviously trying to climb up the standings? What have maybe the coaches told you in terms of just performing as a first year? And would you say that you've maybe exceeded your own expectations up to this point?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely didn't think I'd be playing this much when I got here. So it's definitely good. We're definitely a young team. So yeah. It's not that I didn't expect to make the lineup my first year, but just not this much. But yeah, I know the coaches, they've been really happy with me so far. Yeah, I'm just trying to play as well as I can for my team. And yeah.
How's the transition been to university life? Is it that much easier? Was the move that much easier to digest, knowing that you had 2 teammates coming with you?
Yeah, it definitely made it a lot easier. We're actually all rooming together in dorms, so that's also helpful. It was just nice to come to a new place with familiar people. Yeah, it just helped with the adjustment and everything.
What does it say about the Northern Capitals program that, they're not only developing good players, but recruiters are noticing the program a lot more? You have 3 players from last year's team, including yourself, that you're rooming with, that being Carson and Brooke, recruited to the same school. You have 2 players going to the States on scholarships from, going next year as well as this year. What does that say about the program that, A, you're getting noticed, and B, you're getting the opportunity to continue playing hockey at a very high level?
Through my 3 years as a Northern Capital, it was definitely one of, I don't know how to say this. It was a very memorable experience for sure. Love the girls that I went through with. We definitely had a good team culture, and I think that's a big part of it. Just like being a good teammate. And I think that helped a lot with our success. I mean, we didn't win anything big, but I think we exceeded expectations on that team through those 3 years. Yeah, I think just being on a team that's supportive and, we all just work hard. That's one thing that I can take away from being a Northern Capital is good teammates and yeah, just a good work ethic.
Now, you grew up in Vanderhoof playing minor hockey in that community. Just talk about how you got involved in playing hockey and who were maybe some of your idols growing up in the game?
Well, I started off as a figure skater, so I'm glad that I switched over to hockey. My dad and my uncle, they both played hockey, so hockey was always in our family. I don't know, everyone around me played, so it was definitely something I wanted to get into. And yeah, I just kind of stuck with it. I really enjoyed it. It just, yeah, was more fun than anything else I'd tried, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah.
What age did you switch from figure skating to hockey?
I think I was 6. I remember trying to memorize a figure skating routine and I couldn't get it. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I also really didn't like that it wasn't like a team sport. I think that's another thing that I really enjoyed about hockey is you had 19 other people there that were your teammates helping you to achieve the same goal.
Do you have any coaches or mentors locally that kind of pushed you at all?
Yeah. Teresa Phillips, she's a big part of the female side of hockey in Vanderhoof. She's been developing it, trying to get more girls in the game for a lot of years. And yeah, she's definitely one of my mentors. She pushed me really hard and I'm really grateful for all she did for me. Yeah, I have lots of coaches from Vanderhoof that just really gave me a good experience.
Do you have any players that you idolized growing up, either in the women's game or any NHL players at all that you kind of, took the time to watch and try and emulate your game after?
Shea Weber was my favorite NHL defenseman. I also really, although she's a forward, I really loved watching Rebecca Johnston play on the Canadian women's national team. Yeah, those are two of my favorite players.
Now, did you start out playing out with the boys, and when did you maybe exclusively play like female hockey, either in Vanderhoof?
I played with the boys for a while up until Pee Wee. I still played with the boys in Pee Wee, so that was like, I don't know what age that is, like 13 around there. But then I started playing with girls and boys for a year, and then I just switched to strictly girls when the hitting started in boys, and that's when I started playing in Prince George. But yeah, I think growing up playing with boys helped a lot, just with like the physical part of the game. Yeah, and it just pushed me a lot harder.
Mm-hmm. What are you taking at school currently in Trinity Western, and what's it kind of like going from Prince George, which is obviously the biggest city in northern BC, to Langley, which is one of many cities in the greater Vancouver area?
So I'm taking business as my major. Yeah, I don't know. Prince George is definitely, it was smaller. It is smaller than Langley, but it's kind of the same feel almost, because Langley's not as much of a city as all the other cities down here. It's a little bit smaller and more community feel, especially at Trinity Western, like on the campus. It's a really big community feel. Yeah, and I really enjoy that part of it.
Was that maybe a big reason why you, along with a couple of your teammates, chose Trinity Western, because of that smaller community feel? Kind of felt like back home in Prince George and area?
Yeah, I always thought I wanted to go to a big city and yeah, the big schools. But after coming to Trinity and just walking around campus and experiencing the feel, I definitely am happy with my decision. This is definitely the right place for me to go. Yeah, the small town feel really has helped me, I think, get through it. I think I would have been a bit overwhelmed with a big school, but yeah.
What did it mean to you to kind of go back home with the Capitals during your tenure on those Winter Classic weekends? I know you weren't able to play the outdoor game last year because of all the water and moisture on it, and it was technically too warm to play on it. But what does it mean to you to come back home as a Northern Capital during your tenure, to kind of play in front of friends and family virtually once a year for a good couple of years there?
It definitely meant a lot just to go back home and see all the people that supported me through the years and just let them know that their support really did a lot. That meant a lot to me, because I wouldn't have gotten to where I am without support from the people in Vanderhoof that I'm close to. Yeah, it was just such a cool experience. Just to show like small town girls that there is an opportunity for them to, make it big and achieve their dreams. Because this was my dream when I was younger, was just to make it to a university team. And now I'm here. So just going back and being able to play in front of young girls, show them, because I never had that growing up. I mean, I had some of it, but yeah, it really meant a lot to me that way.
No, I mentioned Linden Makow plays for the Spruce Kings. He's also a Vanderhoof product. He's right within your age group. Do you know Linden quite well at all?
Yeah, we actually grew up playing together. His dad was my coach in Pee Wee, another really influential coach to me. He supported me a lot in my game, and yeah, so pretty close to their family.
Mm-hmm. How far do you want to go with hockey? I know you're obviously at a pretty high level in terms of Canada West right now, but do you have aspirations to go further than that?
I mean, my biggest goal was just to make it here. That was my biggest dream, was to play for a U Sports team. But I mean, obviously I want to go as far as I can. So I'm going to continue to work hard and just see where my future takes me. I really want to stay focused on school though through these next few years. So yeah, we'll just see what happens, and I'm just going to keep working hard and do the best I can. Yeah. See what opportunities rise.
What's maybe the one part of your game do you felt you improved the most during your time with the Capitals?
I would say my defensive game improved the most. Just like perfecting it, I guess. That was, and yeah, so that was my biggest thing. My skating.
We see in a lot of places registration is up to the roof for women's hockey all over, in Prince George and in a lot of places across Canada. That being said, what's maybe the one biggest hurdle that women's hockey is facing right now? We obviously hear a common answer is, the lack of stable pro opportunities, but is it just that simple, or is there a little bit more to it than that you'd like to see done a little bit better?
No, I definitely agree with that. It's like there's just not as many opportunities for girls, and I think that would be the biggest struggle. And women not getting, paid as much is also a struggle, because we have to also have jobs. So that's a big balance that you have to, decide what you want to do. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What's the one thing that you want to take away most from your freshman season at Trinity Western? You already touched on maybe exceeding your own expectations about playing as much as you have. What's maybe the one other thing that you want to dial in and kind of focus on with the Spartans?
I would say my biggest goal is I just want to be, a force on the back end of our team. Like, I want to be recognized as a key player for sure. Even in my first year, I just want to just get the most out of this experience as I can. I mean, I'm only going to be a rookie once. So yeah, just want to, do the best I can in my first year. Definitely make a name for myself. Yeah.
Take us through your very first Canada West goal.
Well, we were down to Mount Royal, so I was just kind of like, well, try and get something going here. So yeah, we carried it into our zone or into their zone, and the puck was just kind of sitting there, and three of us went to get the puck, and in my head, I was like, no, this is my puck. I'm taking it. So I wheeled around and I shot, and I actually thought one of our own players tipped it. So I was quite excited. And then they're like, oh, that was your goal. And I was like, oh. So yeah, that was really exciting for me. I didn't really expect to score that early on in the season, but yeah, I got a lot of support from my teammates. So that was nice.
Do you have any typical pregame routines or superstitions at all before a game?
Nothing too fancy, no. Yeah, no, I just like to focus on the game. I like to sit by myself for a bit and just, visualize what I want to do that game and just break it down into small pieces. Yeah.
Do you find it kind of funny that you're kind of playing against some old teammates like Keegan Goulet and Brett Curley, who are with the Dinos now in Canada West? Do you kind of friendly banter back and forth at all?
I actually haven't got the chance to play them yet. I'm really looking forward to it, though. I think we play them at the end of November. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it because that's another cool thing about Northern Capitals is yeah, there's starting to be more girls in the league. So just being able to see everybody and play against each other again is just really special. And even Maria Eyre going to McEwen next year, that'll be another friendly face. And yeah, it's just really cool.
Well, it was a pleasure, obviously, to watch you develop and broadcast your games over the past few seasons, and it was nice to catch up with you once again on your early success with the Trinity Western Spartans, and I'm sure we'll be able to do this again here in the not too distant future.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much, Ella.
Thank you.
All right, and that was our interview with Northern Capitals alumni Ella Boon. Brendan, ending thoughts on that interview with Ella Boon?
It was a very insightful conversation, just talking about university life, choosing Trinity Western. Langley, of course, maybe one of the smaller communities of the GVA, that being the Greater Vancouver area, where kind of has that small town feel to it, and that was important for Ella as well as Brooklyn and Carson, and it's helped a lot that they're all kind of dorming together in the same facility. So you have those life-changing type moments where you're graduating from one level to the next. It's very helpful that you have people coming with you that and also talking about what needs to be done in the women's game to keep it relevant, keep it on the uptick, as they say, because the registration numbers across Canada are on the upswing. It's just making sure that the pay model and the professional level model is sustainable for the long run, and it was nice to chat with her about that as well.
Awesome. And with that, we're going to transition into our Cariboo Hockey Weekly reports to finish off our podcast. And so we had 3 teams in action. Originally, we were supposed to have all 4 AAA teams going, but unfortunately, the U18 Cariboo Cougars 2 home games had been canceled due to illness, which you never like to see, but it's life and it happens. So we'll move on to the Northern Capitals. They had a 3-game weekend. They hosted the VI Seals. Unfortunately, they didn't quite get the result they were hoping for. They did finish strong with a win on Sunday today, but they went 1-2 on the weekend. The first game on Friday was a bit of a heartbreaker, tightly contested, 1-1 game till the very end with 0.01 seconds left, and unfortunately, the VI Seals sneak one past Peyton Planeta, and they got the late lead to secure a victory for themselves. They go 1-2 on the weekend. The U17 AAA Cariboo Cougars were on the road. They were in Kelowna playing the Okanagan Rockets. They split the weekend 1-1. And the U15 AAA Cariboo Cougars had quite a homestand here. 2 games back-to-back. Both games going to overtime. Saturday night, tie 2-2, goes to overtime. No results. They end that one in a tie. And then on Sunday here, they went to overtime again, tied 1-1. And the Burns Lake product, Desmond Tom, puts home a beautiful game-winning goal, and probably the best celebration he's ever had in his hockey career till date, to put the cherry on top for his team. And that is it for the teams, but we do have a few BCHL milestones here for the Northern Capitals. Gabby Meyer got her first BC Elite Hockey League goal over the weekend, so congratulations to Gabby. As well as Peyton Planeta, she got her first BC Elite Hockey League shutout here on Sunday to close out for a strong performance. So congratulations to both Peyton and Gabby. And also news, Jessa Brewer. She's going to join Rachel Lowen at Niagara University as she's committed for next season. That's another huge milestone for a very hard-working player in Jessa Brewer. So from the HockeyNorth team to Jessa, a big, strong congratulations. And any final thoughts here, Brendan, before we close out the podcast?
Oh, a very good action-packed podcast from all levels, whether it's our interview guests that I conducted with Boon and Makow, or whether it's the capital success or some of the milestones, as we mentioned towards the end. But no shortage of hockey. It's a very fun time of year. Everybody's in action, whether you're playing Junior A, Junior B, at an academy, or even just all the teams under the Cariboo umbrella that we cover a lot more closely on a regular basis. No shortage of players, not only playing but succeeding at all levels. And it's just nice to be able to have the opportunity to cover them on a very regular basis.
Absolutely. And with that, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Hockey North podcast. We look forward to seeing you here next week.
I need to know.